Hello, first tonight, why is the conviction rate for rape so low in this region, and what can we do to make it better?
Last night we featured the case of two rapists who were convicted after attacking their victim at random in Leighton Buzzard last year. But nationally we know that only 6.5% of complaints about rape actually result in a conviction. The latest figures we've got across the region are from 2007, and you can see there are quite substantial variations. In Norfolk it was 9.6%. At the other end of the scale, Cambridgeshire, Suffolk and Essex are all only 3.1%. Suffolk told us their figures have gone up in the last couple of years, and they're carrying out a review on their whole approach to rape and serious sexual assaults. Essex Police said every rape investigation was overseen by a detective inspector, and they encourage all victims to come forward. Cambridgeshire says its conviction rates are also increasing, and they've set up specialist investigations units. More on them in a moment. All the forces stress that when it comes to court, it is often one person's word against another, and that's reflected in this set of figures. It shows what percentage of people are found guilty. Norfolk comes top with 67% of people successfully convicted. Essex is at 66%. Suffolk and Bedfordshire are at the lower end of the scale. So how can we improve the conviction rates? Well, the government wants every police force to set up sexual assault referral centres. Basically, it means that women don't have to go to a police station when they want to report a rape. Here's Joe Black.
Come on, we're going to bed. Come on.
If you or someone you knew was raped, would you be brave enough to tell anyone? Would you want the perpetrator punished? You think the answer would be yes, but a staggering 85% of rapes are not reported. Many victims fear walking into the police station. They could be known to the authorities. Some feel they won't be believed.
You worry what everyone's going to think. And it's also, if you call rape on somebody, then you worry that somebody else is going to think that you're going to do it to them.
Stacey was repeatedly raped by her partner. For 2 years, she didn't dare tell anyone.
I thought that it was OK for him to do it because he was my boyfriend. And he told me, I can do this because I'm your partner.
Facilities like this Comfort Suite in Cambridgeshire are helpful when dealing with women and children. And over the last year, conviction rates have gone up here. But now the police are doing even more. This is a Sexual Assault Referral Centre, or SARC. It brings together different legal, medical agencies and departments, all in one safe place.
They may have been in trouble with the police before. It may be that they know someone in that particular police station. So if they go to the SARC, then it's totally sort of away from the police environment, and it's not an environment where there's authority.
At the moment there isn't actually a self-referral route, so if victims of sexual violence and rape don't want to report to the police, or if they're unsure about reporting to the police, they haven't really got an option, whereas the SARC will provide them with an option of self-referral or helping them to decide what they actually want to do. Talking to a regular police officer about something so sensitive in a police station, it's not, I don't think it's the right thing. It's not very comfortable.
Our region's first SARC opens here in the middle of Peterborough in the new year. Of course, not everyone who experiences this awful crime reacts in the same way. It takes real courage to seek a prosecution, and some victims may just want a friendly ear or need medical attention. That's where a service like this can really bridge the gap and hopefully lead to fewer victims suffering in silence. Joe Black, BBC Look East.
Just last month, Harriet Harman, who's the Minister for Women and Equality, announced a review of how rape cases are handled. I spoke to her earlier and asked why she thought we had such a low conviction rate in this country. Was there still a culture of disbelief in some police forces?
Well, I think there is much less so than there used to be, but I think we need to be absolutely certain that there isn't a postcode lottery, that the level of support and the effectiveness and the investigation shouldn't depend on where you happen to have fallen victim to this offence. It needs to be high standard absolutely everywhere in the country. But I think the honest truth, the honest answer to your question is we don't actually know why we're still actually not doing as well as we should be doing in terms of bringing rapists to justice. There are still people who are slipping through the net. I think the most important thing is if a woman is raped, she needs to know that actually her her complaint will be taken seriously, there'll be proper investigation, and it's worth her putting up with the ordeal of having to give the statements and the difficulty of being prepared to give evidence to the court, because actually the system will back her up.
If there's any woman listening to this interview who has been a victim but who has not come forward because they're worried about how they're going to be treated, what would your advice be to them tonight?
Well, I know that it's very, very difficult. You might think, well, supposing people will say, I was asking for it because I was walking home late at night, or people might say, well, it wasn't rape because he was my former boyfriend, and I just want to forget about it, it's so awful, I just want to blot the whole thing out. But actually, I would say to any woman who's been the victim of a sexual assault, please think, if you have got the courage to report it, please do report it, because what we do know about rape is it's a repeat offence, is that a man who has sexually attacked a woman will attack other women unless he's actually stopped, and therefore you need that justice for yourself, because nobody should be raped and then the offender get away with it. But actually, it's important for other women.
Harriet Harman, thank you very much.
Thank you.
2 more deaths related to swine flu have been confirmed this afternoon. A young man with underlying health problems and a woman who was previously healthy have died. They're not being named at the request of their families. The death toll is now 6. However, the number of new cases has risen only slightly this week.
A council leader who left his untaxed car in a car park for 3 months without paying is quitting his post. Tony Woods heads Northampton Borough Council. He will step down later this month.
The car that wrecked a leadership, left in the council's car park for 3 months, no charges paid, without tax or MOT. And here the man at the centre of the storm, now dubbed Astrogate.
I parked my car in my space allocated to me. I have not been dishonest. I have made no profit out of this. I have not had any duck houses, moats dredged or anything else. No dishonesty whatsoever here. It was a mistake.
A former council leader started the investigation. He was approached by staff who wanted to see something done.
I think it was resentment. I think it was... this is, remember, in the backdrop of what's happening nationally. People don't like to see politicians abusing processes and abusing their facilities. And people saw this very clearly as an abuse of a privilege.
Tony Woods has apologised after an 8-hour hearing. Some people in Northampton today said he was in the wrong.
I think he should pay up, you know, if he's left his car there for 3 months and not paid, I mean, what would you or I, we'd have had to pay, wouldn't we?
It's probably fairly small fry, isn't it, with regard to everything else that goes on with politicians these days.
I don't think he should resign. He should get the same penalties as anybody else should get.
Applied to, innit? He done the right thing, didn't he? It's disgusting.
Tony Woods has no firm plans for his future, but hopes to bounce back under a new leader. Emma Bohr, BBC Look East, Northampton.